Welcome to Ask for Candy, where we talk about healing, self-care, love, sex, relationships, and what it takes to be amazing on the daily. Another week. I'm so excited. We got a little rain going on. As always, I have the German Shepherd with me. You're going to hear some background noises. That's just how it goes. We're going to roll with it and have a great conversation. Who I am is Candice Harper, lovecoach.com. And my purpose with this podcast is to create healthy, romantic relationships all around the world through self-love, soul connections, and sweetness. But before we get to that, we are now partnered with Sexuality magazine and part of Sexuality TV. So from now on, we'll be going live every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern. You can come and join in and ask questions and join the conversation. Me and my Brian is here as always. You want to say hi to the people, Brian?
Hi, Brian.
Silly. From now, like I said, we're going live every Wednesday at 7. You can watch us at Solivity.com on Sexuality TV and subscribe to Sexuality TV on YouTube so you can be alerted when we go live as well. And, you know, also just see the replays, right? You can watch it over and over again. Don't you watch it over and over again, Brian? I'm going to take that as a no. Don't forget to subscribe to our audio podcast as well. You are rolling with me, honey.
I'm with you now. I'm with you.
You're with me now? Okay, good. Don't forget to subscribe to our audio podcast Ask for Candy on Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio as well, and wherever you normally download podcasts. That way you can listen in your car too. You can email us, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com, and those questions will be answered, or I will respond, or I'll even maybe use your topic for a future show. And if you're shy, it's a good way to, just reach out. I read all the emails. So for almost 9 years now, I have been a relationship coach, a workshop facilitator, and now a professional matchmaker with Talkify dating service. And if you've never heard of it, it's an amazing, ooh, the thunder, honey. Do you hear that, Brian? I know. That means it's going to be hot tonight. Like it's going to be like a sexy, dramatic kind of evening with the show tonight. As I was saying, Talkify dating service, if you've never heard of it, it's an amazing digital service where you can hire a matchmaker to do all the sifting and vetting on your behalf. It's especially great for people who struggle with initiating contact or simply picking the right partner. Matchmaking and relationship coaching are my zone of genius. And the best part about it is that week to week, I get to grow and learn as I interact with people around the most intimate part of their lives. I get to meet and nurture new clients. I love how the outside, the atmosphere is like, it's like my amen chorus, because every time I say something, the thunder goes off. I hope you guys can hear it too. It's kind of sexy. I get to screen possible dating candidates for them. I get to design programs and activities that deepen their ability to get to know each other. But most importantly, I get to be part of what supports healthy beginnings and sustainably healthy relationships. I get to be the cause of self-love, soul connections, and sweetness. And if you're here tonight, hopefully that's what you're here for as well. Tonight, I really want you to stick around for the entire show so you won't miss Matchmaker Moments, where I'm going to tell you all about a featured client. I don't have any client questions tonight. Sometimes I ask a client question so you guys can give feedback. But tonight's topic is so chunky and juicy and full and fat, and I have so much to say about it. And I'm hoping that you'll have something to say about it as well, that I wanted to make sure to give it its due and give it enough time so that we can really sink into it and, sit back and just enjoy it, be into it. So tonight's title is Stop Looking for Chemistry and Let Love Find You. Yes. Stop looking for chemistry. And I know that sounds so counterintuitive to the people. Love can't find you while you are busy looking for chemistry. Now, tonight's show is specifically for single people who truly want to be in a relationship, or maybe even people in a couple for whom the excitement has dried up. And actually, it's for anyone who's out there searching for what they think is going to make them feel alive, rather than bringing the aliveness to their romantic life. So whether you are single or in a couple, you have a romantic life. And whether you are single in a couple or a throuple or whatever you choose to be in, it is up to you to bring the aliveness to it. And so we're going to talk about all of that. So it's that dreaded thing. And I talk to hundreds of people, screening them for different matches, to put them with people between my clients and the people that I screen and the people that I coach. And I can't even tell you how many times I hear the words, he was nice, but there was no chemistry. Or, she was a great conversationalist, but I just didn't feel a spark. And the translation to that is, I didn't look at that person and immediately have a visceral reaction of sexual excitement. So it's ixnay on the possibility of an relationship, Ray. It's like, that's it. It's not going to happen because it wasn't a meet cute. It wasn't like it is in the movies. I didn't instantly desire that person in a physical, sexual way. My animal brain didn't kick in. None of that happened. So there's just no chance that this is going to be able to go any further. And I hear people say that all the time. And it's crazy to me that it's so common that people feel that way. Because it doesn't matter if, we've had an amazing conversation, or we live really similar lifestyles, or our core values are almost identical, or if, we had a lot of similar experiences growing up, or if I felt an instant friendship for you, or I thought you were incredibly kind, or you understood my sense of humor, or if I thought you were funny. If I didn't want to fuck you, that's it. Excuse my French. And I think the thing about that is that we're so, I always talk about how we're such an instant gratification culture in the first place, but we're so misled into thinking that love and romance and all of it is something that's supposed to happen to us in a way. And we overlook those things that really are true indicators of how long we can spend with a person. So I don't care how good the sex is. And you know that what I'm saying is valid, because all you have to think about is every ex that you've ever had and whether you started out sexually attracted to them or not. Right? Don't you think so, Brian?
Absolutely. Nailing it tonight.
Oh, good. Right? You have all these exes. Of course you were sexually attracted to them. You can be sexually attracted to a lot of people, and that chemistry and that spark is great. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's real, it's valid. It's 100% a natural human reaction and desire. It's okay to have that desire, but it's also the thing that keeps a relationship-minded person unfulfilled. So please, for the rest of this podcast tonight, take it from this matchmaker, relationship coach, and recovered serial monogamist. I may not keep relationships, but I am masterful about getting into them and getting other people into them. And I can definitively tell you that instant chemistry, while it is very fun and exciting, it is in no way an indication of whether a real partnership is possible with another person. It just does not indicate that at all. And I don't want to genderize it. I do find that more men than women, they always say men are visual. Women are visual as well. But more men are willing to cut off a possibility if there's not that physical attraction right away than women so far, you know, with the people that I've dealt with. But either way, it's really important to be present to what do I say that I want? What do I want to align with? If I just want to have sex with people, then chemistry and physical attraction is the most important thing. And I can find that in a lot of people, right? But, you know, I have people, and especially people who invest in matchmaking, who are saying, I want to be in a committed long-term relationship. So here are some of the other things that the people that I screen tell me that they want from a love relationship. And this includes clients and possible matches for my clients. And those of you who are out there listening, if you hear any of these for yourself, that you also want the same, especially if you're single, or if you're in a relationship where you feel like things are missing, I just want you to consider how these are the things we say we want and how they really will align with whether or not we instantly find someone sexual or physically attractive. So a lot of the times, one of the things I hear is I want a partner to do everyday life things with, like lazy Sundays, home stuff, cooking together. It could be raising kids or pets, museums, weekend trips, hobby, whatever it is, that everyday life stuff. Most people who are out there looking for a partner are looking for someone that they can tolerate doing all of those things, and not just tolerate, but enjoy themselves with, right? So if what I want, what I say I want, is someone who, you know, I can lay around and read the Sunday paper with, or someone who practices spirituality or will do yoga with me, or someone who, you know, wants to enjoy things like just going to the grocery store with me so we can have fun together in a friendship kind of way, then it's in my best interest to look for signs that that person can do that. And I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you how to switch it over so that you can still feel that chemical, physical, sexy stuff, but in a way that is sustainable. Another thing that people often say is they want that high level of friendship. So I don't believe that your lover has to be your best friend. It's great if they are, if your spouse or your lover is your best friend, but they don't have to be. You could still have a high level of friendship with them, though, which just means that I can be myself around you, right? I can be who I am, and you are accepting of who I am. And I feel like you're a friend. If I need a friend, if I need, you know, someone to talk to about something, I need to run something past you, you're able to do that. They say, I want someone I can travel with. Being able to travel with a person. Yeah, it's great to travel with the person and be able to have sex with them as well. But think about everything else that goes into traveling. Right, Brian? I mean, think about every time you've traveled with, especially a romantic partner.
Oh yeah, it all comes out even when you get to the airport.
Get to the airport. First of all, even leaving wherever you live, right?
Well,
Let's say you
deciding
want
where you're gonna go.
deciding where you're gonna go, agreeing on that, then making the plans, what you're gonna do when you get there. Then the getting to the airport, making sure everybody's got passports if you're going anywhere, obviously out of the country. Like, you know, there's a lot that it entails. So if I say I want to be able to travel with someone, I need somebody who is a partner, somebody who can roll with it the way that I do, or that we somehow complement or balance each other. So just because I want to have sex with you in no way indicates that that is possible, right? So if that's all I'm looking at, then I'm missing out on other signs that I could travel with you. Although I will say it is nice to travel with someone and have sex with them, but if you fought the whole way before you got there, you know what I mean? Like, how sustainable is that going to be? So, right? They also say things like, I want someone who has a positive outlook on life. That's great. Nothing wrong with wanting that. That's a fantastic thing to want. Never, it will never be indicated by how good the sex is or whether that person is sexy. I want someone who understands and accepts my imperfections. I get that so much. Like someone who sees me for who I am, or, I have a lot of clients who, everybody has their different things, whether it's I feel like I'm too old, or I feel like, I've got this physical issue, or, there's something about me that makes me feel like it's going to be hard to match me, whatever. I mean, what we all want is someone who can look at us and see, what we might consider imperfections and still love us and still care about us. I want someone who I can trust. I want someone who is as driven as I am. I get that one a lot. I want someone who will be great with my kids. I want someone who I can feel safe with. Like, those are all things that people talk about when they say they want a relationship. And then they say all those things, and then poof, they meet someone, and whether or not they feel instantly physically attracted takes up a majority of their mental space throughout the rest of the date. This happens all the time. Oh, see, even the universe agrees with me. I don't know if y'all just
I
heard
heard
that.
that one.
Did you?
Maybe that was the universe saying an exclamation point on that last one.
Right? It's true. The universe does not want you to just forego all those things that you say you want in search of a sexual attraction. So the problem is not that we want it. It's not that we want chemistry. It's not that it's not wrong to want to have that kind of physical interaction with someone. It's that we think it's something that will magically appear and confirm the other person's relationship worthiness. And we're also quick to discount someone if it's not immediately there. And while it's an important aspect of matching with someone, it is the most unreliable point of compatibility that exists. And I posted earlier this week on Facebook about, stop looking for compatibility. I mean, stop looking for chemistry. And people thought that I was saying that chemistry is not important. Like, you don't have to be physically attracted. Absolutely 100% not. Because trust me, I'm someone who was raised to be very looksist. And I have my own desires that come from, wanting to have physical attraction and all of that stuff. I'm not trying to negate the feeling. We're human. The feeling is going to be there, but we have to be in our awareness that it is the most unreliable point of compatibility. It's definitely a reliable point of, whether I can have a fun time in the moment with this person. Nothing wrong with that either. But if you're a relationship minded person and what you want is a relationship, what we want to talk about is, how do I get in alignment with wanting a relationship and also experience that kind of physical attraction, that chemistry, and allow myself to develop it, right? Because it's something to be developed. Now, Brian, as my married man in the machine, my voice in the machine,
Watch
tell
out.
me tell me what you think about the development of physical attraction, the development of chemistry. And let me preface it by saying, so if you're initially attracted to someone, that's great. There's nothing wrong. I'm not saying you should negate someone you're initially attracted to. But what do you think about the difference between that initial attraction and that attraction after you really get to know that that person is special?
Well, I think this goes back to what we were talking. It's a follow on from last week, and that is, I think this is like this is some old school thinking, everybody. The old thought around, you know, uh, you know, beauty is not forever, and that what lasts are the moments that you share together as a couple,
Yeah.
the experiences that you go through together, where there becomes a bond that's deeper than how your mate looks physically.
Yeah.
That you're able, like in the movie, what was it, Pandora?
Mm.
No, Avatar.
Okay.
Where they say, "I see you," right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so that's kind of how I look at it, where over time, the person that you're with, you see beyond just their physical body, which for you is still probably attractive, but what's more, even deeper and more attractive to you is the person that you have shared so many experiences with and has
yeah,
been there by your side,
yeah.
you know. And that's kind of how I look at it, in that, doesn't mean that your partner doesn't come out with dress or, suit or something, and they don't
Yeah.
tickle your fancy. Um, but even when that is not the case, this deep love and deep intimate attraction. So that's
Yeah.
how I look at it.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. But the fact is that, just to be in the awareness that there is a distinction, that there is a difference. And one will have you in a sustainable situation and the other one will have you in the moment, right? And neither of it's wrong. It's just being aware of what you say that it is that you really want. Um there was something that you said too that made me think of something. It's going to come back to me. I know it because I thought it was a really, really good point. But I was also going to say too, like scientifically, that thing that happens to our bodies when we're instantly attracted to someone is nature's way of making sure we continue the population. So for most of the people that I deal, right? Most of the people that I deal with are older people, people who've already had their kids, maybe had a divorce or two, and even the ones that haven't necessarily gotten married and want to have children. I mean, population, we pretty much got population covered, right? And we also know that having babies doesn't sustain a relationship either, and we have to be willing to ask ourselves, why do we keep thinking that the initial spark is the indicator of relationship worthiness? So back to that, what I want to talk about and what I want to touch on is what Brian was talking about, as far as when you do have that connection and what it means to have the physical attraction from a place of, I want to express my affection and affinity for you based on what I know of you intimately, what I've learned of you, and how we are developing. So the difference between, I want to feed an animal physical need, or I want to express affection and affinity, and the difference between those two types of chemistry, those two types of physical attraction. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely, it
Yeah.
makes sense. I think
Right.
I think we have to learn to differentiate between the two.
Yeah. Yeah. When we want a real relationship, when we want sustainability. So I want to talk about all the different ways that we can actually do that. But I want to take a commercial break first, because once I dive into that, then our little hour goes by so fast. We're already like coming up on halfway through pretty soon. But I want to take a little commercial break. Is that cool, Brian? Can we do that now?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Some people have a posture in which the shoulders round. Some people have a belly that came from long hours working in a computer. Driving, grabbing your baby, the posture changes with your lifestyle. So we have to reprogram our posture in order to have a better lifestyle. So what is important here to know? Our core, the house of our body, with the roof here, the diaphragm, with the pelvic floor that is the ground, and the whole core muscles are the walls of the house, have to work properly in order to have a good posture and a good movement.
Watch Body Fit with Alexa Marine every Monday and Thursday at 9 a.m. right here on Celebrity TV.
Hueva, mi gente. Listen, I just wanted to jump on here really quickly to share some amazing news with you guys. I have joined forces with Celebrity Magazine to bring you Conciencias con Cocktails, where we're going to be streaming important live conversations with influential leaders about current events over delicious cocktails. It's going to be mind-blowing. Our guests are going to blow you away. Listen, you can't miss it. Join us, stay connected for more details, and we'll see each other soon. Gracias.
So we're back and we're talking about the distinction between that animal magnetism, physical attraction that people want to use to be their sort of mile marker for whether they're getting in a relationship, or that chemistry, that physical attraction that develops over time. And I also, I want to go back to addressing those who aren't necessarily looking to have children, but want to have a partnership. Because I also work with a lot of clients who are in their 40s and over. And that's another thing that I wanted to touch on. When we're young, and it's funny too, because I had a friend who commented on my post that I did on Facebook earlier this week about stop looking for chemistry. And he commented, he's somebody I've known since I was probably 18 years old. And he's been with the same person since that age. And that's great. That's a great accomplishment. But I think when you're in your late teens, 20s, maybe even early 30s, everybody's hot. Everybody's, fuckable. So you get with these people, and sometimes it lasts, sometimes it doesn't last. So maybe that's part of what leads people to believe that that's what you should continue to look for in the later years when looking for a relationship. But, as we get older, people's bodies get spongier. It's just, there's not as much overt sexiness. It's not all just, I look at you and I see this beauty. We start to have the lines and the scars and the dimples and the, different things of life that represent what we've been through and who we are. And they also represent the character that we've developed. They also represent the things that have made us who we are. And they also represent a lot of what can be very lovable about us sometimes. So I think what it's about is, and a lot of these other points that I'm going to talk about, is being able to open our hearts to seeing past just what is that instant chemical reaction. And I know I'm saying the same thing over, but I feel like repetition is how people learn. Don't you agree, Brian?
Yeah, because you may not get it the first time.
Right? And if
like, wait a minute, what did you say? Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Right? And if I say it a few different times, different people will get it in a different way. So if you've ever experienced that magical thing that happens when you take the time to get to know something and see something in their character that is aligned with who you are, like that they're funny and easy to be with, or it's recognizing and focusing on those things rather than dismissing them, that's what increases our affinity. And I can tell you, I was in a 13-year relationship with someone who, to this day, I still consider him to have been the love of my life. And it took a year and a half for me to find him physically attractive. And now I can't even remember what it felt like to not think that he was physically attractive. I wasn't repulsed by him or anything like that. But, it took understanding his character and getting to know him better. And then I was in a long-term relationship with someone, ridiculous sexual attraction. Like I would, even to this day, if I smelled a shirt that he was wearing, I probably would be sex drunk. But it was one of the worst relationships that I ever could have been in. And so we're talking about allowing yourself to genuinely get to know someone based on their positive aspects, the positive aspects that you get to see in them over time if you allow it to develop. So what should we be doing or looking for in the meantime? If you're someone who's dating, or if you're someone who's in a relationship and you're looking to re-find that chemistry, that spark, if you're someone who wants to experience what it means to be naked with someone who sees you from the inside out, sees you as beautiful because they know your inside. Sorry, the German Shepherd's losing his mind. Sees you because they know your inside. So when you're single and dating, and actually when you're in a couple too, one thing to do is to cultivate your sexuality on your own. And why do I say that, right? You have to stay in touch with your understanding of your own pleasure, so that when you meet people, or even when you're dealing with, let's say, a partner you've been with a long time and the sex is dead, you won't feel so desperate for them to fulfill your needs. You'll understand what your pleasure is. You'll understand cultivating your own sexuality, and you'll know how to generate what you want to generate. Obviously, if you're in a relationship, you can't force someone to respond, but what you can do is really get in touch with your sexuality and how to cultivate that and how to understand pleasure for yourself. I've had clients that I've worked with where it's been years and they haven't even, thought about it. They haven't touched themselves. We have a question from the audience, Brian. I see we have a question.
Yes, we do.
I love it. I don't want to barrel through. What's the question?
All right. This question is from Sasha. Hey, Sasha.
Hey, Sasha.
All right. What advice do you have for young people who have no idea what they want in a partner and can only identify with the chemical feeling? Wow, that is a fantastic.
Right? That's a magical question. Here's the thing about when you're young, though, and I advise this strongly. I think that you want to be really cognizant that, first of all, life is long and short at the same time. And it is okay to not know what you want for a while and be aware that a lifelong partner may not be what you need to be looking for when you're in your late teens, early 20s, maybe even late 20s, as far as late 20s. But if what you're feeling like is, I really want to have a partner, just be of the understanding that if I'm having casual sex with people, it doesn't align with developing emotional intimacy. And it's not there, it doesn't mean it's wrong or anything like that. It's if I say what I want is to have a partner that understands me and knows me emotionally and wants to get to know me, if that's what I say I want, then it doesn't mean that I can't have sex, because I hate those kind of rules. Like, who's it, Steve Harvey, who has the 90-day rule or whatever. But it means that, whether I'm having sex with that person or not, am I also paying attention to whether we connect on a level that has nothing to do with sex? Like, do we share the same core values? Do we find the same things important? So if I feel like, oh, I'm young, my libido's high, I gotta have sex, I gotta be doing it, that's fine. That's your prerogative, but always be in your awareness. Does what I'm doing align with what I say I want for myself, with this person, with the people that I date? You always want to be really flat with that. And that's what has you get what you want. That's what is workability. Don't make it a moral issue, because I think part of what we have done in our culture is that we have put so much shame around sex, sexuality, and the desire for sex that it makes people make, secretive, self-sabotaging decisions. And it makes them not want to admit to the fact that they just want to have, casual sex, or that they just want to, date for a while and not get too serious with anyone. Or if they get too serious with someone, then they feel like they have to be some sort of idea of what someone else might want sexually. I think it's about just exploring, knowing yourself, being honest with yourself, and understanding that what I do is what gets me what I want, or doesn't get me what I want. Does that make sense? D'Angelo says we need a weekend workshop on that. Right? We could go off in so many directions about.
Hey, that's an idea, though.
Right? It is. That is a good idea. I have to think about that. So yeah, thank you for that question, Sasha. And I hope if there's any young people out there listening that they're, I have a mentee, and I have a young woman who I always say she's my adopted daughter, because she's about the age that if I would have had a daughter, she would be. And she's in her early 20s. And I always tell her, this is a time for you to responsibly enjoy yourself. Like, take care of yourself, love yourself, be safe about it. Of course, now with the pandemic, I don't think anybody should be interacting with anybody sexually without a lot of caution. But, when we're normally and not in a pandemic state, I think that when you're in your 20s, it really is a time to be in the exploration about what it is you want for yourself, and doing it as safely as possible, and giving yourself a chance to practice alignment with what you want. All right. So where are we at? Another thing to be focusing on, rather than whether you have chemistry with someone, ask yourself if the other person, especially on a first date, and as you're getting to know someone, if they are someone whose life you could see yourself in. And you have to actually get to know someone in order to find that out, right? Like, you have to be willing to ask them questions about their life, even if you don't feel like having sex with them yet. A lot of times people will decide, oh, I don't find them sexually attractive, so I'm not even going to commit to this conversation anymore. And I get that a lot, because we do feedback with the matchmaking, and people will say to me, oh, well, it's like he just stopped talking. He seemed really closed off. And then I find out later he was really closed off because he decided she wasn't pretty enough. Or, she had to go really quick. And I find out later she had to go really quick because she didn't think he was handsome. And it's like, give a person a chance, especially if but they'll say, oh, they were a nice person, I just didn't feel the chemistry. So if a person is a nice person, it's worth it to have a conversation with them. It's worth it to ask them some questions about themselves. Even if you don't feel sexually attracted to them, it's worth it, even in a marriage, if you haven't had sex in a long time, you feel like it's dead, it's worth it to get to know the person that you're with. Because a lot of times I think people have been together for a while, they think, well, I already know everything about this person. I don't need to ask any questions. I don't need to be inquisitive about who they are because I've been with them long enough. I can tell you all the answers. And I think that's a big mistake that people make when they've been together for a long time. And it's part of what kind of kills that intimacy. We have another question, Brian.
Yes, we do. They keep coming in. This is great, y'all. Keep them coming. This is from Candice. Hi, Candice.
Oh, hi, Candice.
Another Candice.
Right?
All right. If you're available for love and not a temporary relationship, aka dating forever or like 10 years, what are your thoughts on becoming friends first? I always feel like being friends has this potential to get stuck there, and you need to be clear with your intentions and of dating with a purpose. That's a very, very good question.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Candice? Yeah, that is a great question, Candice. So here's the thing that I think we often do when it comes to single dating and hoping for a relationship is that we overthink into the future what's going to happen if. So if I get into a friendship with this person, does that mean it's going to kill all the possibility for sexual attraction? If I get into a friendship with this person and we do end up in a relationship, is it going to die off in 10 years? Like that forward overthinking is what kind of sabotages us, because then we start to get afraid of all the what ifs. How could this be sabotaged? It's really important, especially if you feel like you could be friends with this person, to allow yourself to gently cultivate complete vulnerability and honesty about how you feel about the situation, about how you feel about that person. If you feel that it's maybe sliding into a friendship, then it's okay to say, well, I do feel attraction for you, and it's scary and it's a risk of rejection. If you feel like you're getting into a relationship with someone and you don't want it to be just a temporary partnership, that what you want is a long-term relationship, I think it's going to sound counterintuitive, because even though I think it's good to be honest about what it is you want for yourself, but to tell someone, I'm not going to be able to do this if it's going to be temporary, I'm going to need you to commit to being with me long term, is kind of it can be very cutting off of the ability to connect, because you sort of lock that person into feeling like you're attached to having them do something, and they may not be conscious of it, but as human beings, we don't like that feeling of being locked into what someone else wants us to do. It really has to be about, I communicate what I'm committed to having for myself. This is what I would like to have, and I act in alignment with that. And I hear and I allow you to share with me what you're committed to for yourself, what it is you really, really want. I believe you when you say it, even if it's not what I want to hear. And I act in alignment with that. And as long as someone is showing up and you're having good times together, I mean, really, life is meant to be lived in the present moment. It's moment by moment. And even people who've been married, those old couples you'll see on the news, they've been married 60, 70 years. They look back, it's like, oh, how'd you do it? We lived it moment by moment. They didn't know when they got married at 15, 16 years old back in the, 40s or 50s. They knew to commit, but they didn't imagine that they would be on the news 60 years later. They just did what they knew to do at the time. And that's all we can do, is do what you know to do at the time. Be authentic, be upfront, stop worrying about what the future might hold and looking for signs of, oh, this is only going to be a 10-year thing because of this is how this person is acting. That's how we let the past sort of dictate what's possible for the future. Right? So I love that question, Candice. Thank you so much. And, sometimes relationships do end up being about 10 years long. And that's okay too, because, this insistence that it's supposed to be a lifelong thing, I think in the society, the culture we live in right now, it is a lot of pressure that I think also sabotages our ability to mate with each other, because we're so worried about living up to some standard for what a relationship is supposed to be. So as long as it feels good and it feels right and it aligns with who you are, enjoy it, participate in it, be there for it. And when the worries start to come up, take care of yourself around it and just keep enjoying it. If you stop enjoying it, then do what you need to do in order to take care of that, whether it's to communicate and handle it or, take care of yourself. We could do a whole weekend workshop on that too as well, Brian, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think we got our first 2 topics for the weekend workshop already.
Right? Thank you for that question, Candice. Another thing to be looking for when you're in this dating phase is you have to ask yourself, do they genuinely feel like a friend? It's an equally important component as the physical attraction. Like I said earlier, they don't have to be your best friend in the world, but in the end, friendship is often all that is left. So when the sexual parts stop working, things dry up and things get spongy and flaccid, and it's not that anymore, or people start to get elderly and can't function the way that they used to and need help with things. If the friendship component is there, then it has sustainability because I care about you as a friend. So it's just as important as that physical attraction. So you want to be on the lookout for that. You want to be open to that, and you want to be open to how that can develop as well. Um, what else? What else did I say? I like to look through my little, I make little notes, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the other thing to be looking for is, can you see yourself teaming up with them?
Oh, that's a good one.
Right? Like
That's
partnering up with them. What do you think about that, Brian? I hear you liking it.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I live by something that my own parents talked about a long time ago, and that is when two people come together, they are two independent people coming together to create an interdependent relationship. So it's if you can picture, you got two glasses of water. I think most people believe or have the belief that to have a relationship, you pour 50% out of each glass, and then you pour 50% into one of the glasses, and now you have a relationship. No, it's 1 times 1 equals. So it's, both people have dreams, aspirations, visions for their life that they want to pursue. And so supporting each other in that is so important.
Yeah.
So important.
And don't you feel like too, and you can tell me, I think about times when I was in a healthy partnership that when something went well because we did it together, it was so sexy.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's yeah. That's
right?
a weekend thing. It's so sexy, you don't go nowhere.
Exactly.
You're handling some business.
You're handling some business after that. And whether it's like what we were talking about earlier, that you planned a great vacation together and that went well, or if you plan to, let's say, start a business or something major that you plan together and partner and team up on, when it goes well, that is chemistry.
Yeah.
Like that is sexually hot.
Right.
And you can't decipher that if you're putting the cart before the horse, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I thank you for that, Brian. I really do. I really believe in the initial conversations that you can have with a person. And we were talking the other day, I was talking with some other matchmakers, and we were talking about how COVID affects all of this when it comes to the teaming up and the partnering. And I actually see it as an opportunity for people to talk to each other about dealing with an adverse situation. So I think COVID, in as much as it's as tragic as it is, and I'm not saying that I wish it on any of us, but as far as how it can be used as an opportunity when you're getting to know someone, because different people have different approaches to how they're dealing with this adversity. And so in moments of adversity, when you can come to an agreement with somebody and work through something based on your agreement, that's partnership. Who doesn't want to be able to do that with someone in life? To be able to say, I see it this way, you see it that way. How can we work together so that we can both, work our way through this? Whether it's, I just met you and I want to figure out how we're going to navigate being able to meet in person because of COVID, or, whatever it might be. Like if we can come together on how we manage it and both people feel like they've been heard and they've been taken care of, that's partnership, baby. That's it right there. Huh? What do you think?
I think that's a bam moment. Yeah, I mean that's what it is all about.
Yeah.
Support.
You want to take go ahead. What were you going to say, honey?
No, I was just going to say just that that's the partnership, that's supporting each other in higher aspirations for each member in the partnership and for the partnership as a whole. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you want to take a quick commercial break?
Well, I'm going to do one more item, and then we'll it'll be the last one, and then we'll cut over, and then we'll do matchmaker moments.
Oh,
how's that?
Yes.
That work? Awesome. Okay, so the last thing, and I want especially my single people to be really cognizant of this, but you know what? Like I said, it goes with, partnered people who haven't been interacting and been connected for a while. It works for you guys too. these things that we start to criticize about the other person. And usually if I felt no chemistry, I felt no spark is there, there's usually other little things that we're criticizing also, like what kind of shoes they wore, whether they have a nervous tick or not. So, some of my clients are like, oh, they live 40 minutes away as opposed to 20 minutes away. Like all those little things are, we want to be aware when we're just blocking ourselves from what it is that we desire, when we're just coming up with stuff based on, the past, based on stories we've made up for parameters we want to set that absolutely mean nothing as far as whether you're compatible with someone. They're like the minutia. They're the little ridiculous things that have no bearing on whether that person can do all of the things that I listed above when I was talking about the things that we say that we want when we want a partnership. So lastly, just take the time to ask some questions that might develop a deeper understanding of that person before you immediately dismiss someone for not being sexually attractive or feeling the spark or the chemistry or all that meet cute bullshit that you've been sold as a bill of goods from these romantic movies and whatever else. I used to read romance novels, so I get it, trust me. All right, let's take a little commercial break, Brian, and then we'll come back with Matchmaker Moments.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Sexuality is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
This week on Matchmaker Moments, I'm going to feature a client. Normally, what I will be doing is asking you guys a matchmaking question, because a lot of times my clients do ask me questions about things. But right now, I was thinking about it and I was like, let me just do a little client profile and give that a little bit of time and space, because all of a sudden I'm getting this new influx of clients. It's very interesting, Brian. I am finding that what with the pandemic and the more time that we spend, I guess, back and forth in isolation, out of isolation, in our mask, out of our masks, whatever's going on, is that more and more people are desiring connection. What do you think that's about?
Well, I mean, you can't go anywhere. So,
Right?
so everywhere you go, you're taking yourself with you.
Yeah.
And so you start getting in tune with, maybe that you want to share your life with someone and, and that kind of deal. So, and I think for some people too, that maybe the way for them to grow is to share in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Where, because there's some things that you can't just do alone. You can only do them if you're in a relationship with someone for a certain amount of time, and then you grow. So I think that's what that's about.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. And it's actually a very beautiful thing. I think, like I was talking about earlier, it's another one of those things that is an opportunity of the situation that we're in right now, because we have been forced to slow down. So we do have an opportunity here to really get to know each other on a deeper level. And I think a lot of times why people are afraid to do that is because we have so many self-judgments and we're so hard on ourselves. And, a lot of times we assume that other people will judge us just as harshly. So, before pandemic, people would just immerse themselves in work or, whatever other distractions that they have that kept them from actually pursuing love or kept them from actually being in this conversation. And now so many of us are faced with this isolation. So many of us are faced with not having nearly as much to do as we did before, and concerns about the future, and thinking about mortality, and all of that stuff. And I think the opportunity in thinking about mortality is that, that question they always say, like, if you had only, 3 days to live or a month to live or a year to live, what would you do? And you know how that often inspires people to get really creative and imaginative about what they would do with their lives.
Yeah, Candy, do you think though,
Mm.
should we just live from that kind of space most of the time? Like, what would you do if this was your last day? Right? What
Yeah,
what would you decide to kind of do that day?
yeah.
I mean, in part, I mean, it's tempered, but what do you think about that?
I like 100% think that it's a very healthy way to consider life. Like what, like, because you think about all the things that we put off until tomorrow. And for whatever reason, I mean, not for whatever reason, I'm pretty clear that the reason that we do that so much with love is because we have a lot of fear around it. And it's, the sort of the apex of our existence, like love and connection and how we interact with other humans, relationships, our relationship, starting with our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with others. It's the apex of our lives. So we tend to be afraid of it and put things off and put it off until tomorrow. But if we were to say to ourselves around any area of our life, what would you do about this thing if you only had, a month to get it to what you want it to be? Like, what would you do if you knew for
Hmm.
sure that it were only a month?
And you
I
wouldn't go
think,
get that Popeye's chicken sandwich.
right, right, right. Like it would really, and I think that's kind of a mild bit of what is happening now with this pandemic situation, because it's scary. It's scary for a lot of people, especially in thinking about your mortality and all of that. And it does bring up that topic, like, what if I don't make it through this thing? Don't I want to have lived out loud? And I actually think that if you look at it in a certain way, it can be a very beautiful way to just start creating and start doing all the things that you say you want to do, and supporting yourself in all the things that you say you want, and getting aligned with all the things you say you want, just because why not? Why not? What's the alternative? The alternative is that I continue to live and we get through this pandemic. We go back to whatever we're going back to, if we go back to the same thing, hopefully not. And I never get to experience it. Or I go ahead and just have myself experience it and seize the present, seize the now, and see where it can go. That's what we're here for. I think we forget that a lot of times. And it's a great segue into my client profile, because the amazing thing about my client is that she is a 72-year-old woman who has kept herself in shape, is looking fantastic, and she is proof that the desire for companionship is ongoing in life. And there is nothing wrong with making your desires known at any age. There's nothing wrong with going after it at any age. There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel connected, feel sexy. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get into it, right? Don't you agree with that?
Yeah, you better. I mean,
Right?
I mean, you know, you should be able to spice up your own life. And
Yeah,
then, it invites, someone who feels the same about their life to enter into your life. I mean, we attract who we are.
absolutely. 100%. And it's in the now. It's do it now. And so here she is. Who cares what she did previously? She's 72 years old. She's looking for a healthy gentleman between the ages of 50 to 75 in Denver, Colorado. And, if you feel like you might be that gentleman, or you might know that gentleman, email me, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com, and say, I want to be matched. I was noticing on the comments, Brian, that Candice also said that she would swipe right on everyone. Ha ha ha, let's date.
I had to mute myself because I was laughing so hard.
Were you? I love that. And I love that, because that's just what we not necessarily should be doing. It's like, you have to go with what your gut tells you is the right thing as far as that's concerned. But why not? Why not just meet people and see what's possible and see where it can go? Granted, yes, there's a lot of kooks out there and people that you might not necessarily want to get with. But for the most part, I think a lot of times we just instantly negate people because we see little things about them. And especially when it comes to online dating, you see a picture or you see something that's maybe a little off, whatever. And then instantly you want to negate the possibility, and you just never know. It goes back to, our topic tonight, in looking for that perfect chemistry, in looking for that perfect meet cute, in wanting to feel that spark right off the bat. We stand in our own way and we sabotage ourselves from having that exact thing that we want. It's, we got to let go of this instant gratification thing and be willing to develop connection with each other. If what you really want is a relationship and a connection, a partnership with someone, allow it to develop, allow the chemistry to develop, allow your understanding of that person to develop, and give yourself a fighting chance, especially in these uncertain times. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're too hard on ourselves sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
Either we're believing we're not good enough, or we think the other person ain't good enough, which is just a reflection of us, our insecurity. So,
totally.
You were talking about COVID. I think this is the time for us to deal with that. Single and or even if you're married like me. I mean, we still have to do our work. It doesn't end. We talked about that last week, where it doesn't end. It really doesn't.
It never ends. It never ends, because as soon as you get the next thing, you're going to desire the thing after that.
Isn't that a song?
Yeah, it might be. It should be. It ought to be. You never get it done. Like Abraham Hicks says, you never get it done. All right. So thank you so much, Brian. Sexuality Magazine.
Thank you, Candy.
Living. Right. It's been a pleasure, as it is every week. I'm so excited every week whenever we're about to broadcast. I'm always so nervous in the beginning. Like I always feel a crack.
Y'all don't believe that, right? Y'all don't believe that.
It's true. So is there anything that you want to tell them about what's happening now?
Wow. So yeah, so as always, tomorrow morning we have Body Fit with Alexa Marinier, which is at 9 a.m. So if you want to get your day started right with a hyperpressive training technique, which is like something that's been around for a long time in Europe and now is here in the United States, check it out. We've got a very new cooking segment that'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays now with our taste chef, Walter Martino, also known as the $1 Million Chef, at 1 p.m. and Javier Pedroza with Conciencias con Cocktails at 6 p.m., which is going to be a lot of fun. It's got a great, amazing singer that's going to be on the show, Omar Perez-Thin. I can't wait for you guys to hear. He's amazing. So that's what's going on.
I'm going to tune in, definitely.
Oh, one more thing too. Our 21-day Phoenix Challenge is still going on with Walter Martino and Betsy Tapico. So just go to solivity.com and you'll see the information right on the front page.
Oh, cool. Fantastic. All right, you guys, I'm a matchmaker for Talkify. You know that. If you want to be included in my roster of recruits to be matched with a client for free, send me a PM on Facebook with your interest and your email, and I'll send you my recruitment link. All you have to be is single and open to being screened to go on a blind date. Also, every Monday night, I do the Epic Circle. It's an online healing circle for women everywhere. We go on Zoom, and we have a beautiful circle conference where we cause personal transformation when it comes to mother-daughter relationships, purpose, friendships, just all the tools we need to be as big as we were meant to be. We talk a lot of, right now we're working on purpose. And you can find us on Eventbrite or our meetup. It's called the Epic Circle. And what else? On Instagram at Ask for Candy Podcast, at Candy Love Coach, at Sexuality Magazine. Right? And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. It's Sexuality TV on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I'll post the link right on in the quick chat so everybody can go check there and see any repeat of Candy's show. It's available 24/7.
Awesome. And you can email me, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. Send me your questions and comments. They may even become upcoming topics. And I think we're about done. Where are we at, Brian?
We are perfectly on time.
Oh, perfect. All right. So it's time to sign out. Until next time, never forget you are a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you aren't getting the love you need, just make more and ask for
Candy.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Ask for Candy with Candice Harper, right here on Solivity TV every Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Sexuality magazine brings you the best in inspiration on Solivity TV. Check out our new shows.